That's the one thing about our audience. They always want a new guy to break through the glass ceiling.
And all you have to do is just be real.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the jabroni-beating, pie-eating, trailblazing, eyebrow-raising, talking is done, you're out of your class, no sleep till Brooklyn, The Rock whips your ass. Woo!
I wish you and King would quit talking.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 37 for today, Monday, October 5th, 2015. I'm your host, Dave Brown. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Bit of quick news. Next week, the show is going to drop on Sunday, because I got some work stuff I have to do on Monday. We got a big old meeting that we're going to have going on, so I will be there instead of sitting on my fat butt here at home. So, because of that, Around the Ring next week, number 38, will drop on Sunday, and it looks like we're going to actually have a special guest. One of the awesome folks behind the website Wrestling Express, which you can check out at WrestlingExpress.net, or follow at Wrestling Express with one S on Twitter. And one of those nice folks is going to be on the show, and we're going to talk all about what they've got going on with their site, wrestling, you know, all the normal stuff, and might even just kind of go through the week's shows and see, get some opinions on that. I finally figured out a way to do this with having guests on, so that's going to be cool. Hopefully we'll open up some new avenues, and if there's anyone out there listening, other podcast hosts or wrestlers, yeah, I doubt any of those are listening, but anyone is, if you're interested in coming on the show, send me an email, aroundtheringok@gmail.com, or hit me up on Twitter at aroundtheringok. While you're at it, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/aroundtheringok. And we also have a YouTube channel that has nothing on it yet, but you can follow youtube.com/aroundtheringok, and our homepage, aroundtheringok.wordpress.com. I'm sensing a theme here. It's probably because there is one. Try to keep that handle the same, if for no other reason, so I don't forget what the hell it is, because my memory sucks. That's why I have to take notes while I'm watching all of these shows each week. Otherwise, every bit of Raw would just go out of my head because it sucked so bad lately. Before we get into the bad, let's start with something good. And we'll actually start with something good that comes from WWE. WWE has done a couple of really good things on the network. One of them, well, a lot of them are these new original programs that are kind of interview-based, almost shoot non-kayfabe programs. The Legends with JBL was the one we talked about there. Unfortunately, have not been any new episodes of that yet. I'm looking forward to new episodes of it, though. The other is Table for Three, and this last week, Table for Three was an Intercontinental Championship-centered table, and it included Ryback, Daniel Bryan, and Dolph Ziggler. And it was freaking hilarious. And apparently, not Dolph Ziggler, apparently Daniel Bryan is a bit of a jokester, and he and Cody Rhodes would give Ryback nothing but just unbelievable shit, to the point that Ryback just stopped writing with anyone. He got so sick of getting picked on, which is really funny considering how small those two guys are compared to, the big guy. But this was a really interesting conversation. It was very funny. You could tell these three guys are friends. They rip into each other pretty good. I think Ryback doesn't quite enjoy that as much. But it shows that, these are three guys that have really fun personalities, and just, let them be themselves. Stop scripting Ryback and give Dolph an actual decent storyline or something, man. And plus, I really hope that Daniel Bryan gets to come back at some point, because he is sorely missed. But this is something they're doing really well. Another thing this last week was the Unfiltered with Renee Young, was an interview with Kevin Owens. Now, I've watched a lot of her show. I really like Renee Young. I think she's really talented. She does a good job with interviews. I even enjoyed her on commentary on NXT. But this Unfiltered show is a lot of fun, and she goes in there and she just sits down and talks with people. She also brings in sometimes folks from movie stars and whatnot. I really haven't watched a lot of those. I have watched all of the ones with the exception of the one with Randy Orton. But I watched, she had one with Seth Rollins, she had one with Bad News Barrett, and one or two others, and I really enjoyed those. But the one with Kevin Owens was fantastic. And the big takeaway I get from watching this is Kevin Owens seems to be a really good guy. I mean, a funny guy. And it's going to be a shame if WWE really fucks this up and he does not become a huge star, because who cares that he's a little chubby? Dusty Rhodes is a fat ass, man, and Dusty Rhodes is one of, if not the most charismatic person to ever step foot in a ring, and he was money. And I tell you what, Kevin Owens is money. Even as poorly as he's been booked on the main roster, look at how many KO shirts you see out there. There are tons of them. But this was fun. This was really good. And then we had Raw. So we'll just start there. The overall thing with Raw this week, boring. It was very fucking boring. And I know Vince McMahon's underwear is in knots because the ratings for Raw keep dropping, and apparently last week they dropped even more. I mean, they're losing hundreds of thousands of viewers every week. It might have something to do with the fact that the show is fucking boring. And it didn't help that the crowd this last Monday on Raw, was awful. They were just dead. Now, in their defense, there have been plenty of reports that have floated around that the WWE was not showing the match on the Titantron or on the screens that are normally above the ring. So people couldn't see what the hell was going on. Of course they're going to be dead. Whoever in the back thought that was a good idea, maybe it was a technical difficulty, I don't know. But why they weren't showing the match on the Tron, I don't know. That's just stupid. It is fucking stupid. And the result, a really boring, crappy Raw. So the show opened up with highlights of the Seth Rollins, Kane, John Cena stuff from last week. And this is going to be a reoccurring theme with both Raw and what little SmackDown I saw this week, and the MSG special that they played on Saturday. Lots and lots of replays of previous weeks. Stop showing us so many replays. It loses the effect. NXT does replays, but they do it effectively, and it's not constant. Yes, I know you have 3 hours of television to fill up. That's one of your main problems. Constantly showing replays of what happened the week before or just earlier that same night, not helpful. John Cena came out to do the U.S. Open Challenge, and the challenge was accepted by, honest to God, the only thing lately on this show that is worth a shit to watch, The New Day. These guys bring a smile to my face. It's fucking gold. Just gold. So The New Day come out. My first thought is, why are they serving up The New Day to freaking Cena? Well, we find out in a minute. And so they're playing a joke, and then Cena had to get all serious. He had to be serious, Cena. Fucking John Cena. I'm so... speaking of John Cena, he is going away for a few months. Thank you, Jesus. Or about a month. After Hell in a Cell, he is going to be gone and miss, apparently, I think even, I don't know if he's going to miss the Royal Rumble, but he's going to miss at least one pay-per-view. And all I can say is good. The ratings might kind of fall a little bit without John Cena because he is a big draw. But, I mean, seriously, it's not going to matter. They're falling so much at this point. This company needs to hit rock bottom and start over. They are really at the point they were in the very early 90s when fans were getting so sick to death of Hulk Hogan, and they desperately wanted guys like Bret Hart to take over the mantles. That's what we're running into now, and it's time for this new generation to take over. It's time for the New Day and Kevin Owens and Cesaro and Seth Rollins, even Dean Ambrose. It's time for these guys to be ruling the roost, and time for Big Show, Kane, even though Kane has been the last couple weeks one of the few bright points in these shows. And John Cena, I mean, these guys need to fucking go. Randy Orton is still useful. He still can move in the ring. He doesn't feel as jammed down our throat as a lot of these other guys do, at least not at the moment. Sheamus needs to go. Get him the fuck out of here. I'd get rid of Miz too, even though Miz kind of serves a purpose. So the match ended up being Xavier Woods challenging John Cena for the title. And Cena was coming off like a huge bully. Kofi and Big E were sent to the locker room, and right coming toward the end of the match, Kofi and Big E came back in, interfered when Cena had Xavier in the STF. The Dudley Boys came out, make the save, brawl, we go to commercial, come back, and oh hey, it's a 6-man tag team match. New Day versus Dudleys and John Cena. It was a pretty fun match. New Day wins. There was one point that Big E speared Cena through the top and middle rope onto the floor. Oh, it was brutal. Whenever Big E does those spears from through the ropes off the apron onto the floor, it just looks just fantastic. And yeah, New Day got the win, which is the way it needed to be. Freaking John Cena did not need to get that win. It was kind of a waste of the U.S. Open Challenge, but I see why they did that. They're really pumping this feud, New Day and the Dudley Boys, which I'm enjoying. So yeah, we then had Stephanie, Triple H, and this chick named Ashley, who apparently was from HR, or so we're led to believe, in the back. Triple H doesn't think that HR is the way to go. They're trying to figure out this whole thing with Demon Kane, right? Apparently an anonymous complaint was set in on Kane. Seth Rollins comes in and says that this is spineless, that someone would send an anonymous email. Of course, they didn't say that it was sent via email, so all fingers point to Rollins being the one who has sent the message. Kane then gets in Rollins' face, all angry, and then just segues right into all the super happy. You know, this part wasn't awful. Here's what I enjoy. Demon Kane, whatever. Corporate Kane being all cheerful and kind of creepy, I kind of like that. And this segment wasn't terrible. The segment later on with Kane and Ashley was unbearable. This was okay. I kind of enjoyed this. We then had Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns talking backstage about Reigns' match with Bray Wyatt this night, or later on the night. Reigns says Randy Orton could help. Ambrose says he didn't want anyone else involved. Orton comes in. Lots of tension between the three. They need to just kiss and make up, whatever. Another highlight, I do enjoy the Bray Wyatt-Roman Reigns feud. I think those two are going to have a long-term back and forth, on and off again feud, kind of in the way that, you know, Dusty and Ric Flair had, or Ric Flair and Sting had. That could really happen. Not that, you know, those guys are really in the Sting Ric Flair level. Well, Bray Wyatt, you could make a good argument, but anywho. We then have Mark Henry versus the Big Show. Who fucking cares why? Show wins in what was basically a squash. the whole point of this was to build up for the Madison Square Garden show, to make Big Show look like a threat to Brock Lesnar. And okay, fine. He needed to win. He needed to win in a squash match against someone who was big and looked impressive. And Mark Henry's the guy to do it, not freaking Cesaro, who, by the way, was not even on Raw this week at all. Apparently, he was on Superstars. Who did this man piss off? Seriously, whose Wheaties did he piss in? Whose mouth did he poop in? I don't understand this. With a guy as talented as Cesaro, why the fuck is he relegated to Superstars? That's where you see jamokes like Heath Slater. For fucking Christ's sake, man. God. Whew. Sorry. I get a little emotional sometimes. Let us continue. Where the fuck was I? Oh, Miz TV. Yeah, next we had Miz TV with Charlotte and Becky Lynch. What was great? The best part of this, Becky grabbed Miz's mic and threw it down the ramp after Charlotte calls out Paige. That was pretty funny. Team Bella comes out. Nikki does the whole drama queen entitled cheerleader thing really well. Charlotte was just on freaking fire during the segment. Paige came out to a nice pop, and she gets on the mic and said to the Bellas, "Oh yeah, and if you have two boyfriends like yours, who really needs ambition?" Or a comment along those lines. It was nice. There was a brawl, commercial break. We come back, and it is an impromptu 6-man or woman tag team match. Team PCB, if you can even call them that anymore, against Team Bella. And you wonder, well, why? Oh God, excuse me. Sorry. Why would they team up like this? It doesn't make any sense. Paige has stabbed these chicks in the back. Why would they want to work with her again? Well, you're the enemy of my enemy kind of thing, I'm guessing, and they were there. So, yeah. Lost my place in my notes. 1 second. So, it's so funny. Becky Lynch was in the match more than anyone else. She took a whole lot of punishment from all of Team Bella. And she is so much better than anyone of Team Bella. In fact, all of PCB is so much better than Team Bella. I was thinking during this whole thing that with Team PCB and or just the Four Horsewomen, in some ways, Becky Lynch is like the Arn Anderson of this team. She is the one that is, she's not getting the title shots, but she is always there. She always has someone's back. She takes a lot of punishment. So, to me, Becky Lynch is the Arn Anderson of the Four Horsewomen. And I love me some Becky Lynch, man. That girl needs a better push. So, at one point, Becky tagged in Charlotte. Paige looked pissed. There was a spot where Charlotte gets knocked into Paige, which knocks Paige off of the apron. Paige says, "Screw this," and leaves. Natty comes down to take Paige's spot. Paige attacks Natty. Brawl starts to ensue/continue. Nikki uses the distraction to hit the rack attack on Charlotte and get the win. It was there. It wasn't. Here's the theme, really, of WWE: wasted potential. Absolute wasted potential. In fact, that might be the title of this week's episode, because I didn't have one. So, we then had a Brock Lesnar Big Show vignette to hype the match on Saturday. Seth Rollins and Ashley backstage. They're joined by Kane. Kane gives Rollins a present which is the severed head from Rollins' statue that Sting destroyed. And there's actually a screenshot of this on the graphic for this week. And okay, I'm a sucker for facial expressions, and Seth Rollins' face during this, and of course they were playing up the whole thing from the movie 7. Seth was, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" And Kane being all super creepy cheerful. You know, it wasn't bad. It was a segment. We then had the Primetime Players versus Luke Harper and Braun Strowman. I did not see much of this match because the feed I was watching on fucked up. Strowman choked out Titus. Yeah, Primetime Players, I hope you enjoyed your push because you're now back at the bottom. Excuse me while I get a sip of water. We then had Stardust versus Neville. Neville was about to hit the red arrow and King Barrett came out and bullhammered both Neville and Stardust to a reaction of near silence. No one cared. There was a shot of Rollins walking backstage with Ashley again. And then here's where... Jesus Christ. Here was one of the just absolute worst moments. This was so cringeworthy. So, Corporate Kane and Ashley were in the ring for an in-ring promo to determine whether or not Kane is capable. Seth Rollins comes out before she can start reading her findings, shows a Demon Kane vignette. Rollins says he's going to heaven, says he had an audience with the Pope. I was like, what the fuck? What? And he just kept going on and on and on, and he really just needed to shut the hell up. Kane then shows a vignette of Rollins acting like an idiot. Ashley says Kane is of sound mind and body, should save director of operations, and Rollins is one who needs to be evaluated. He's cruel, narcissistic, and a bunch of other bad crap. Which, kind of his character is. Seth hits the ring, gets in Kane's face, eventually hit a pedigree, attacks him with a chair, medics come out, Seth gets back on the mic. Oh, this segment was so fucking awful. They wheel Kane back, he gets put in an ambulance starts to drive off like his leg is really hurt. The ambulance stops, there's a red light inside, in comes out Demon Kane, he quickly got changed, hits the ring, brawl, Seth runs, he dropped the belt in the during this, Kane holds up the belt, end of the segment. It was fucking awful, boring, cringeworthy, sucked balls, nothing good about the segment at all. It ruined the entire show. Not that the show didn't suck otherwise, but we had a great opening thing with the New Day because it was the fucking New Day. And yeah, and then so they followed this up with a Bray Wyatt backstage promo. And then we've got Bo Dallas in the ring, doing an in-ring Bo Dallasness. And I love Bo Dallas. That did make me smile to see Bo. I haven't seen him in a while. Randy Orton comes out. It's Bo Dallas versus Randy Orton. Randy got the win. And it was a match. It was pretty much a squash. We then have Kevin Owens versus Rusev. Ryback's on commentary. Jesus, Ryback made a fat joke, which was not cool. Rusev gets thrown into Ryback. A brawl breaks out. Dolph Ziggler comes down. This was a really, really short, poorly executed segment. So here you've got another wasted potential. Kevin Owens, who is money. Rusev, who is actually quite good. Ryback, who is pretty good. Dolph Ziggler, who is excellent. 4 guys. Top-notch performers. If not pretty darn good to top-notch excellent performers. And they give them like a couple of minutes. It was fucking awful. We then had Paul Heyman doing an in-ring promo, kind of going through the motions. Big Show comes out. Show gets a nice what treatment that actually made me smile. I don't mind the what chants, probably because I haven't been hearing them for as long as some other fans, since I had that little hiatus there for a number of years not watching wrestling. But when someone's just annoying as all hell, giving them the what treatment is fantastic, and Big Show deserves it. But not as a person, but his character's awful. And the way that Show kept talking about this is like everyone was forgetting that the last time the two of these guys had a match, Brock Lesnar made him look like a bitch. And that was it. Heyman walked out. The whole point of this was to make Big Show look strong. Gross. We then had Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt in the main event. There wasn't much of a reaction for Reigns when he came out. And, I'm watching this. They kept talking this up like this is the blow-off of the feud. And so that led to my question as watching this. If this is the blow-off, who are these guys going to work with next? So Wyatt came down with Luke Harper and Braun Strowman, despite earlier having said that he would be alone. Reigns gets on the mic. Wyatt sends them back. A good match. Ended in a double count out. They brawled into the crowd. The brawl was much better than the actual match. So they brawled into the crowd. At one point, Wyatt grabbed a plant who was supposed to be like one of the technicians at kind of around the ringside area, and just launched through this dude into Roman Reigns. I mean, launched him. It looked great. There was one of Wyatt's, when he does that running kind of elbow thing that sent them through a barricade, that was pretty awesome looking. And then Wyatt ended up standing on the announce table celebrating. Reigns gets up and spears him through the announce table. It looked great. The show ended with them both just laid out. And my final note on this episode of Raw was, man, that was a boring episode of Raw. Wasted potential, folks. Wasted potential. And so that's going to bring us to the Live from Madison Square Garden special that they aired on Saturday. It's just a house show, but it was, they hyped it up like it was a big deal. Kind of like they did with Beast in the East. But my brain just stopped working. I hate it when that happens. One thing I really like about these is the fact that they are not using the Raw set. And the set they were using in Madison Square Garden, I really, really liked. It kind of reminded me of some of those early pre-Raw's War sets. But I liked it. It was a nice change. The commentary team was Rich Brennan, who does SmackDown and NXT, and JBL and Byron Saxton. And Saxton's also on NXT. So this was 2/3 of the NXT team. And we opened up with a tag team match, Sheamus and Rusev versus Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton. There's a big pop for Orton. And this crowd was pretty freaking hot. And the whole time I kept thinking about this event. I'm like, okay, you're back in New York City. It's time to bring out Cass and Enzo. I mean, this place was pretty electric, and I can only imagine the pop that would have happened had the soft music started. And, you get to hear, "My name is Enzo Amore." That place would have gone ape shit. If only. So, Ziggler and Orton got the win after a super kick into an RKO combo. It was good. Rusev gets on the mic and berates Sheamus. Sheamus took the pin. He ate the super kick and the RKO. He gets a loud "what" chant. Then Sheamus does get up and bro kicks Rusev and gets on the mic. And yeah, that was that. We then get some replays from Raw. Why? Fuck, man. The nice thing on the Beast from the East, they didn't do that shit, man. They had some things that were specific about matches, like they had a little, I think, video package for the Kevin Owens Finn Balor match, but that was about it. So they did not need replays from Raw. Kane was interviewed backstage with Renee Young. It was Super Happy Kane again, and I do like Super Happy Kane. We then had Stardust versus Neville. And, it just made me think, it's so sad to see two guys that are as talented as Cody Rhodes and Adrian Neville get stuck in a lower bottom tier card feud. Neville got the win. It was a pretty good match. It's just, I don't understand why they make Neville wear a cape. I know this whole superhero Mighty Mouse bullshit. He had a really easy time getting over with fans in NXT. He didn't do that shit. He impressed them in the ring. And yes, I know that NXT is a different, audience is different. It's a, no offense to anyone, it's a smarter audience. So a guy like Neville is going to be far more over in that kind of environment than he would be on the main roster. But they're sabotaging these guys. Wasted potential and sabotage. That's what the WWE does best. They waste potential and they sabotage people. Paul Heyman was backstage with Renee Young, talking up the match. There was an ad for the next WWE 24 little special, and that's going to be about NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. It looked awesome, which had me all super hyped up. And then they showed more replays of this last week's shitty ass Raw, which brought sadness to my face and spirit. We then had a rematch from Raw, Team Bella versus Team PCB. So some people have asked the question, if Paige has deserted Charlotte and Becky, why are they teaming with her tonight? Well, part of me wonders, back in the day, they always talked about how, you had to have contracts for matches. Maybe. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Maybe this match was signed earlier. There's a thought. No, it probably has nothing to do with it. The real reason is because of a spot during the match. One thing I did like is all of the PCB ladies got separate intros. All of their music got to play. They all got nice pops. And there were some nice "We Want Sasha" chants. And I hadn't thought of this, but Solid Monster mentioned on his show yesterday that he thinks they're holding Sasha back until after TakeOver, when she does her rematch with with Bayley. God, how did I mix that up? They're both B names. Shut up. Anyway, once she gets her rematch in with Bayley, she will be then free to just do main roster stuff. And I tell you what, they desperately need her. Sasha Banks is something special. So let's see. Hopefully there won't be more wasted potential. One thing, the Bellas were super over in this match. They got the win after Paige was in the ring. She'd been beaten down. Charlotte and Becky are both holding out their hands to get the tag. Paige jumps for the hot tag, and right as she jumps, about to tag in either Charlotte and Becky just jump off the apron and walk away, which is basically what Paige did to them on Monday. The whole reason for this match now. And that was it, yeah. I forget even how Paige got pinned. It doesn't even matter. After the match, Paige got on the mic and she was all whiny. She does it so well. And she said she can't believe that her team left her, that she would never do anything like that, and which left everyone going, what? Bitch, you did that on Monday. But oh well. Speaking of, god damn it, there was another Raw replay. Another one. Again, it was not even a full week ago. We don't need to see replays. A third set of replays from a shitty Raw on a house show special. We don't. Play the matches. Just, let's have some matches, a couple interviews, matches. That's what we want. We then had Chris Jericho challenging Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental title. Jericho, and he comes out, gets on the mic, and says that night is his 25th anniversary in wrestling. 25 years ago, that day, he had his first professional wrestling match against Lance Storm, who was at ringside with Jon Stewart, though they didn't announce him then, and a couple of other guys whose name I can't remember. It was nice seeing Lance Storm. I always liked Lance Storm. My favorite thing with Lance Storm was the tag team he had in ECW with Just Incredible. That's Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and that's Just Incredible. I loved those guys. So good together. There was a nice pop for Owens. This was a good match. It apparently wasn't as good as some of their matches have been on house shows, but this was a good match. Probably the best match of the night, really. Well, no, I take that back. It was a very good match, though. Kevin Owens got the win, and then that was that. There was an ad for the upcoming Breaking Ground show, which is another behind-the-scenes NXT thing. I'm really looking forward to that. There was a shot of the Big Show backstage trying to look all intimidating and big showy. We then had the Dudley Boys versus the New Day for the tag team titles. And all I got to say is the New Day are fucking amazing. And in fact, there are 3 different screenshots of the New Day in our graphic this week for the episode. Just because they're so awesome. And Xavier Woods, man, he has this one facial expression. It is just to die for. If you're not enjoying the New Day right now, you don't have a soul. That's all there is to it. Either that or you possibly are a racist pig. But you probably just don't have a soul. Because these guys are fucking hilarious. So this was a good match. Dudley's won by DQ, thanks to Xavier breaking up the pin after a 3D. Xavier does get sent through the table. It was fantastic. This was probably my favorite thing in the whole show. And this is the way it needed to be. The Dudleys do not need to win the titles right now. In a few months. I say maybe at the Royal Rumble, have them win. They need to just just build up to it, man. You got to build up to it. They haven't been back long enough. So build up to it. Maybe you know what? At TLC. A tables, ladders, chairs match. And that's how they beat the New Day. That's the way to do it. You build them up. We got to get through Hell in a Cell. They still don't win. Get them to a TLC match. That's the way to do it. And that would be a reason for actually having the TLC pay-per-view with a TLC match. God forbid that something actually makes sense, you know? And my brain just completely went blank again. So next up we had Brock Lesnar versus The Big Show. And, you know, there's such a difference in vibe when Brock Lesnar comes out. He's a power, man. He really is. And so the match starts. He tries to hit a few clotheslines, doesn't. Show gets in some offense pretty early. He hit a choke slam, which Lesnar basically popped right up. He hit a second choke slam, which Lesnar popped right up again. He hit a third choke slam, went for the pin. Lesnar kicked out. Lesnar hit throughout the rest of the match 4 German suplexes and an F5 for the win. And then after the match, Lesnar came back to the ring. He'd left the ring with Paul Heyman. He grabbed Big Show into a belly-to-belly suplex and then another F5. And he leaves, Show's left in the ring, staggering, barely trying to get up. And again, I ask the question, why job out Cesaro when at the end of the day it means nothing? You are ruining a guy, an up-and-comer's career to try to make the Big Show, for fuck's sake, look strong so he can become Brock Lesnar's bitch. They didn't play up Kofi Kingston when he was going to go against Brock Lesnar and Beast in the East. You didn't see him beating a whole bunch of new up-and-coming guys that he has no reason to beat, and there's no reason for going into that match. No. Didn't need it. I mean, here's the thing. Big Show is freaking huge. Yes, Brock Lesnar is a beast. Brock Lesnar is incredibly strong. But still, Big Show's fucking huge. And that's all you needed to do, man. That's really all you needed to do. Yeah, have him have a few matches where he's just bowls over people. Hell, there could be some kind of brawl that he just comes in and cleans out the ring. I don't know, man. Just making Cesaro go down to him the way he did was such a freaking waste. What was interesting after the match, Lillian Garcia gets on the mic and says, "Let's hear it for the Big Show," which he gets showered with booze. But it makes me wonder, was that it, man? Was that Big Show's last match? Is that how he retires? Maybe. I mean, there's worse ways to go out than by having Brock Lesnar kill you. And, it's so sad seeing his career, man, because he was so impressive in WCW and at times in WWE. But he's just now older. He has a hard time moving. He's so freaking huge, and not in a good way. I don't know. We then had the main event, which was a U.S. title match. Seth Rollins challenging John Cena in a cage. What was funny is Seth comes out when he's on the stage area. He is in full babyface mode. I mean, just babyfacing it up. I can't wait for the day that he turns babyface. He is going to be so much money as a babyface. This was a really good cage match. There were some weird things going on with the lights through the match. Cena won, go figure. But Rollins did a frog splash off of the top of the cage, or attempted to, which Cena got out of the way for. Because Rollins was climbing out of the cage, and then Demon Kane comes out, which Rollins then gets back into the cage. So yeah, he goes for the frog splash. Cena moves out of the way, hits an AA, gets the win. He pretty much then gets out of Dodge. He's like, that's it, I'm out. Deuces. Kane gets in the cage and hits chokeslam, tombstone. Done. Show ends. For what it was, which is a house show, it was pretty fun. It would have been a lot better without the replays from Raw. A vignette here and there to set up a match, that's fine. If we're going to look at this and compare it to the Beast in the East special, there's no comparison. Beast in the East was 1,000 times better. There was also the specialness of the being in Japan, the Finn Balor, Kevin Owens match. But even that silly, cheesy main event, Kane and Bad News Barrett against Dolph Ziggler and John Cena, that was fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to them doing more of this kind of thing. I think this is great. A great way to add more content to the network. And I know that according to their statistics, people do tend to watch a lot of the newer stuff versus the older stuff. But, I think you keep doing things like this. You keep doing the Unfiltered with Renee Young show. You keep doing Culture Shock with Corey Graves. The Legends with JBL. Table for Three, which is amazing. The Stone Cold podcast, once every 3 months. And then the 24 series, the Breaking Ground, this is all good stuff. It's really filling up the network nicely. Those kinds of things the WWE does quite well. Something I would like to see, though, come on the network, and this is just kind of a random thought before we jump into NXT, I would really like to see them bring in some older stuff. And I know this is a complaint that's been going on for a long time, but if I'm not mistaken, the WWE owns the libraries for a plethora of organizations, including the UWF, Universal Wrestling Federation, which was Bill Watts' organization that eventually became incorporated into Crockett Promotions, and not University of West Florida. Damn it, wrestling. Sorry, I'm trying to Google it because I didn't have anything right up in front of me. The old WCW Saturday night shows. Also, the WCW Saturday morning shows, I think, would be an excellent thing to add in. My brain just stopped working because, God, man, I tell you what, my noggin doesn't work the way it used to. But what was I saying? WCW Saturday Night was such a huge part of the Crockett show and the Crockett Promotions and World Championship Wrestling, and I think bringing that in, because it's referenced so much on episodes of Monday Nitro that are now on the network, that I think that would be a great thing to bring in. I also think they need to bring in the AWA, the Old American Wrestling Association, or Alliance, I think, Association. Bring that in. Those would be three very complimentary shows to bring on. The Universal Wrestling Federation that Bill Watts ran was excellent. It was basically, he took his Mid-South promotion, he tried to take it to a national level in 1986, and it only lasted about a year. In 87, it was sold to Jim Crockett Promotions and became part of WCW. But it was really, really good. There were some great Dr. Death, Steve Williams matches in there. There was just a lot of really good stuff. They had, oh God, man, there was some. I'm just forgetting. But there's a lot of great stuff on it, and it's it's a shame that that's not out there for us to see. So yeah. Now, something that is on the network that brings a smile to my face every single week is NXT. So let's go ahead and talk about NXT for this week, which was, again, lots of fun. We opened up with an update on the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic tournament with Kyle Edwards. So Jason Jordan and Chad Gable last weekend are heading to TakeOver to face Baron Corbin and Rhino in the semifinals. Dash and Dawson will be facing Samoa Joe. The winner of the Samoa Joe, Finn Balor versus Enzo Amore, Colin Cassidy match this week, which is actually the opening match of the show. We had Cass and Enzo versus Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. Balor's beginning entrance music, the beginning of it changed a little bit. It's kind of more of a rocker feel, and he's got his jacket on, but there's a nice big graphic that says Balor Club in the Bullet Club font. And while I'm still not sure about the jacket, the entrance is pretty freaking cool. Hey, just Finn Balor's just, this guy, man, money. You can print money with this guy. One thing, I'm sorry, I was looking at my notes. When he did his entrance, that was great. He's walking down, and Izzy, who's Bayley's number one family has just primo seats right there in the corner, down by the ramp where he turned right to get up onto the ring, and I am pretty sure that Finn Balor two-sweeted Izzy's mom. That was actually kind of cool. This was a good match. Joe and Balor got the win. Nothing shocking there. Cass and Enzo did hit their skyscraper, whatever it's called, finish, to which Joe kicked out. He hit a muscle buster onto Enzo, which was followed up with a coup de grace from Finn. Yeah, good match. We'll talk more about that in a minute. We then had Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in a backstage interview. Gargano said he will face Apollo Crews tonight, that they've been friends. And Tyler Breeze interrupts and says, "Oh, you're friends of Apollo Crews? Well, then you're not friends of mine." And challenges Ciampa to a match. We then have an Asuka vignette with footage from Japan. That was pretty cool. We then had Johnny Gargano against Apollo Crews. Lots of nice Johnny wrestling chants. At one point, Crews just hit a picture-perfect, beautiful dropkick. Crews got the win. Good match. Really good match. William Regal is backstage in his office with Dana Brooke and Emma. Regal sets a match for TakeOver, which is Dana against Asuka. Dana and Emma are acting pretty smug, like, oh, well, whatever, this isn't going to... Yeah, big deal. And then Regal shows them some footage of Asuka training. And there's a screenshot of this also on our graphic for this week. And they both get these shocked, scared looks on their face, and Emma says, "Yeah, good luck with that," and walks off. It was pretty funny. We then have Dana Brooke and Emma against Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. I like Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. I think these two ladies are going to be, let's give them a couple months as enhancement talent, and then they're going to become like the next big women's wrestlers in NXT. Hell, that's where, Bayley and Sasha Banks started. And look how freaking amazing they are. Let's see. Dana Brooke is a very good shit talker, and she's a pretty good talker in general. She is, and I think the thing with her is she gets a lot of heat, and she's not someone that comes from a wrestling background, but she is taking to this like a fish to water. She is actually pretty impressive, considering she hasn't been doing this for very long. She's picking it up quite well. She's already very athletic. So I think there's a pretty good future for her. A much better future than Eva Marie, who, speaking of that stupid bitch, Eva Marie was in a house show match against Carmella, which Carmella got hurt. Now, to be fair, not a lot of details are out and about right now, so we don't know who botched. It's possible either one of them could have, because neither is very good in the ring. Carmella's a little bit better than Eva Marie, but Eva Marie is the next golden child as far as Kevin Dunn is concerned. My hope is that once his dumbass dies, she will be kicked to the curb, because she's no good. She can't talk, she can't wrestle, she sucks. At least Carmella can talk. Carmella, you put her with Cass and Enzo, entertaining as hell. So it's But back to this match. Dana Brooke, great shit talker, really getting impressive. I think she's gonna be impressive after a while. Dana and Emma get the win. We then had Jason Jordan and Chad Gable backstage with Devin Taylor. Jason asked to be called JJ. They get interrupted by Dash and Dawson. So Dash and Dawson, it's Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, say, basically, it's just arguing, talking smack. It was good little segment. We then had Tommaso Ciampa against Tyler Breeze. There's a great drop kick by Breeze into Ciampa as Ciampa's coming off the top rope. This was a fantastic match. Breeze won with Christian's old move, which apparently is called the Unprettier. I did not know this, but that's what it is apparently called. It sure looks like it hurts like hell. It's not. I like the supermodel kick better because he has such a good super kick. It's better than the beauty shot, a spinning heel kick. But it's cool now that he's theoretically got 3 finishing maneuvers. So, this was a great freaking match. I mean, really good. Probably second best match of the week. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was good. I'm really hoping that they keep Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano around in NXT. And who cares about the main roster? And I'm almost to that point. It's like I want people signed to NXT. I don't want them going to the main roster. In fact, there are people on the main roster. I'm like, can we have them back, please? Because NXT is... It boggles my mind that the same parent company that produces 3 consistently bad hours of Monday Night Raw each and every week can produce 1 excellent hour of NXT every single freaking week, with stories that are compelling, with wrestling that is great. I don't get it. I really don't. How they can do that, but we then have a Baron Corbin and Rhino backstage interview. There's then a rundown of the card for TakeOver Respect, which is this coming Wednesday. And then we have the show ends with a video package of Bayley and Sasha Banks, which is freaking amazing. This was an excellent video package. And you know what? I am not going to lie. I tear up every single time I see clips of the Bayley-Sasha match where Bayley wins the title. The celebration at the end. I just tear up. I love it. It's incredible. So that brings us to TakeOver Respect. So let's do some predictions of TakeOver Respect. And let's start it off with Finn Balor and Samoa Joe versus Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson in the semifinals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I think Balor and Joe are going to win. We then have Rhino and Baron Corbin in the other semifinals against Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. I think Jordan and Gable are going to win. I think Jordan and Gable are a team that they're going to position as the next big tag team. Certainly more so than Baron and like Corbin and Rhino. So with that in mind, that will take us to the finals, which will be Finn Balor and Samoa Joe against Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. And so I look at that match, and to me, it could go either way. I would really like to see Jordan and Gable get the win, especially if a lot of the setup of this, the whole Balor-Joe thing, is just setting up their upcoming feud. I think it would be kind of a waste to give them the win just to have them, go and then feud over the title. Unlike you give Jordan and Gable the win, it gives them something to carry around, and it gives them something to brag about in challenging the Vaudevillains for the titles. So if it was up to me, Jordan and Gable would win the whole thing. We've then got Dana Brooke versus Asuka. Asuka's going to win. Just you could put money on it. I don't think there's anything pointing to Asuka not just destroying Dana Brooke. We then have Apollo Crews versus Tyler Breeze. I think Crews is going to win, though I'd like to see Tyler Breeze get the upset and set up a feud between the two. I think all I know is this is probably going to be a fantastic match. Next to the main event, that will probably be the best match of the night. And then the main event, Bayley defending the NXT Women's Championship against Sasha Banks in a 30-minute Iron Man or Iron Woman or Iron Maiden, however you want to call it, match. I think Bayley's going to win. She's going to hold on to that title for a while, and that'll free up Sasha to head to Raw to do her thing there. Though I'd much rather her be in NXT. I'd much rather Charlotte and Becky Lynch be back in NXT. Hell, let's bring Paige too. Let's just grow NXT some more. So that is the card as of right now, at least, for NXT TakeOver Respect. It's going to be back in Full Sail. It's this Wednesday night live on the WWE Network. I am really looking forward to it. Should be freaking awesome. Oh, God, excuse me. I'm so tired. One other NXT related thing. Well, actually, a couple. One is there's a great picture out there of Finn Balor standing in front of the TNA headquarters giving the DX crotch chop. Pretty funny stuff. The other thing, though, there was a special that aired this week. That was the NXT Roundtable from SummerSlam and just going into TakeOver Brooklyn. And it had Byron Saxton, Corey Graves, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sasha Banks, and Triple H. And it was really, really good. Oh, and Finn Balor. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Just go watch it. It's about an hour, 45 minutes long. 30 minutes maybe. I can't even remember. All I know is I enjoyed the hell out of it. NXT, man, I enjoy it each and every week. It is so good. So good. And it's so, you watch the main roster product and it makes you want to cry. And then you turn on NXT and you can't help but smile because it's so good. Alright, so that's it with the WWE related crap. Let's get on to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor this week was still out of Philly, out of the old ECW arena. The show opened up with Matt Sydal against Kushida from New Japan. Sydal gets the win. Freaking great match. Just outstanding match. Then we had Adam Page against Will Ferrara, Watanabe, and Moose in a four-corner survival match. So basically, the way this works is you've got two guys in the ring, two guys in the corners. Anyone can be tagged in at any time. If one of the people in the ring gets thrown out of the ring or becomes incapacitated, someone else can jump in and declare themselves legal. It was a really good back and forth match. Watanabe got the win. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The theme of this show is Ring of Honor meets New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then the main event was Adam Cole against Shinsuke Nakamura. And I tell you what, Cole was over. Nakamura, super fucking over. I mean, so over. This was awesome. I mean, seriously, just go. If you're a wrestling fan and you're not watching Ring of Honor, and you say, well, I don't get the channel in my area, I don't have cable, so that's no excuse. If you have decent internet out there, you can find it. Not that I'm advocating doing this, but you can find it, watch it. It is that fucking good. Also, just go to ROHWrestling.com. By the time the weekend rolls around, and I believe it's on Saturday or Sunday, because the way it works with their shows is they play on Destination America on Wednesdays, but the show they play in Destination America is the one that came on Saturday previously for their syndicated group audiences. So when that syndicated show hits television on Saturday, the previous week syndication, which was this past Wednesday's Destination America episode, shows up on ringofhonorwrestling.com, and you can watch it there. So go watch it. You have internet access. Go to the www.rohwrestling.com, click on TV, click on Watch Now, and watch that shit. Because it's freaking great. Especially this match. Adam Cole, who is amazing, one of my 5 favorite wrestlers right now. And Nakamura, who is, every time I watch him, he gets more and more impressive. This guy is, I just don't know New Japan well enough, but this guy is awesome. And Nakamura got the win. It was just an incredible match. Match of the week. Stellar. Go watch it. Go watch it. Okay, so that's going to bring us to the flashback section. I, at first, didn't think I was going to get to watch Nitro this week, and I was able to actually watch it this morning. So this is WCW Monday Nitro episode number 3, which aired on September 18th, 1995. On commentary, we had Eric Bischoff, Bobby Heenan, and Steve Mongo McMichael. The show opened up with Kevin Sullivan and the Giant backstage getting out of an ambulance talking to Mean Gene Okerlund. This was still during the time when they were playing up that the Giant is Andre the Giant's son. The American Males come out for a match. They're scheduled to go against the Blue Bloods, but as the Blue Bloods music is going, they don't come out, and then you see Bobby Eaton kind of stumble out and while getting the absolute piss beaten out of him by Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat hits the ring and says, "We're the baddest mofos around. Luckily for you, that means you get a tag team title match right now." The announcers kept talking up that Nick Bockwinkel, who was the, commissioner at the time, I think was the title they gave him, was not there, so they don't know if this is going to end up being a sanctioned match or not. The American Males, by the way, are Mark Buff Bagwell and Scotty Riggs. So during the match, at one point, Sister Sherry jumped up on the apron. Colonel Parker came out, grabbed her. They made out. I threw up, which then allowed Bagwell to get a reversal of some kind of slam into a pin. The American Males are the new tag team champions. And yeah, that whole time the announcers kept talking about whether or not this is actually going to end up being sanctioned. So I suspect we will see those belts changing hands or a rematch or something coming soon. Or we did. I keep forgetting this was past. Ric Flair was an in-ring interview with Mean Gene. Talked about his match with Arn Anderson, and that Arn Anderson broke the code by bringing in Brian Pillman and by bringing in their actual behind-the-scenes family members into this whole thing. Later on in the night, the main event actually for Nitro will be Pillman versus Flair, so that's coming up. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff had a match against Johnny B. Bad. Mr. Wonderful's music is awful. Though quite possibly not as bad as the American Males. Orndorff won after reversing a sunset flip. And that was it. There were some behind-the-scenes shots from the show of Baywatch. Apparently, some of the WCW guys were on an episode or two of Baywatch. It's Randy Orton doing some bench presses. While he's doing this, he gets attacked by Kevin Sullivan. And then Ric Flair and a couple other people show up to go to Savage's aid. Randy Savage has then come out of that in the ring for an interview with Mean Gene. Macho says he has no time for Ric Flair. He didn't need his help. And that Lex Luger took a cheap shot at him at War Games, which brought out Luger. Luger says that Savage wants the title too. Savage admits that he has his own, motives for things. They kind of get in each other's faces. They slap each other a little bit, and that ends. I liked Lex Luger. I still watching this. It reminds me of how much I really liked Lex Luger. I enjoyed him, and I thought he and Savage work well together. I thought. Let's see here. There were replays of the Giant running in and running over Hogan motorcycle before War Games, and then taking him out during the War Games match at Fall Brawl. And then we go to the main event, Flying Brian Pillman against the Nature Boy Ric Flair. This was a week of good dropkicks for my viewing pleasure. Pillman hit a really nice dropkick onto Flair when Flair came off the top rope. Flair won by submission with the figure 4. Really good match. After the match, Flair gets on the mic, calls out Arn Anderson. They go to commercial, comes back, and talking to the commentary team, which they're hyping up the show on Saturday, and then start giving a graphic kind of breakdown of the show, of the matches coming up. The following, which will be next Monday on Nitro, or the following one, which will be the one we talk about next week. And that was it. I'm enjoying this. This was before Nitro got too bloated. Some of the commentators are really, really bad. And honestly, I listen to it, and I sometimes think that Michael Cole and JBL listen to Bischoff and McMichael, and they're like, we got to be like these guys. And that's probably not a good thing. But overall, it's a good show. It was. And I miss the competition. I really do. As much as I love Ring of Honor and NXT, it would be nice if there was a WCW out there nowadays. And that's pretty much it for this week. I did not watch TNA's Bound for Glory pay-per-view from last night. I looked around a little bit to see if I could find somewhere to watch this morning and haven't had any luck. Apparently Matt Hardy is the new TNA champion, which I really wonder the wisdom of ending EC3's unbeaten streak with Matt Hardy. But, who am I to judge? And we'll see. I think Drew Galloway should have been the one to beat EC3, but oh well. And that's it, man. We're out of here. I did not have a chance to pick a song of the week this week. So, yeah, maybe we'll have one next week. Don't forget, though, next week, one of the great folks from Wrestling Express will be joining us. Make sure to check them out. It's WrestlingExpress.net. And that is going to do it for us. Don't forget, you can hear us each and every week on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, all those great places. You can also find us on our website, aroundtheringok.wordpress.com. Make sure to check that out there. And that's it. Check out WrestlingExpress.net. And we should have those guys on next week. Next week we will be on Sunday. And that's going to do us for today. Hope everyone has a great week. And like Jerry Springer always says, take care of yourselves and each other.
You've been listening to Around the Ring on the Spark Radio Network.
All you have to do is change your point of view and believe.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Bam! Woo!
That sucked more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
What? It's for charity.